was your love life like before you came to me? Why you came to me?
I think the biggest part, Barry, was allowing other people to choose me versus me choosing them. I think that
Yeah.
was the biggest part. I think a lot of us have a lot of ego, and when someone loves us and likes us, as young girls, I've always wanted, we want the fairy tale, and we just
Yeah.
allowed, I allowed men to choose me. And I think just because of the compassionate, I'm a doctor, right? So typically we're naturally compassionate people. And I think I found myself, just wanting to be loved so badly and wanting that marriage that my parents have. And, seeing, a couple that have been married for a long time, just wanting that and then wanting a family and all those kinds of things. So I think the fairy tale is what in my mind I wanted to create. And so instead of really looking deeply at the person who they were, I allowed people to choose me. And then when I saw the red flags, I went into compassion mode, right? Oh, I can fix it. Love conquers all. We
Oh
can figure
yeah.
it out, right?
Oh
And all
yeah.
of those stories we tell ourselves. And so that has been the detriment to most of my relationships, really since I was like 21.
Yeah, so it's a long time. Yeah, Letitia,
Mhm.
what, you're 51 now, right?
I'll be 52 this month.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy
I got
birthday.
50, yeah, 57th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how long were you married for?
So I've been married multiple times.
Yep.
So my first marriage was right out of dental school, and we were married for 5 years, and I had a son in that marriage, and then I was married again. And let me say this, what I found is I didn't heal properly in between the two. And one thing, Barry, that you teach all of us, and I'm hoping people that are watching today, if you're considering this program, one thing Barry does is she teaches you the tools so you don't continue to make the same mistakes. And when you don't know what you're doing, then you just keep on making them. And that was just I was that person. So, I married someone that wasn't equally yoked to me, that was younger than me. Then I married someone older than me, thinking that was the whole, well, maybe I'll
Right.
marry someone that's older. He has more sense, and,
Right.
but then I was the breadwinner. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe now I need to marry someone rich, I married a rich one and he was abusive. You know what I'm saying? And so you just kind of keep on in your own mind telling yourself what the problems are. But what you teach us in the program is how to do the work so that we're not, I came from a family where dating wasn't acceptable. So I
Right.
learned how to date in my marriages, which was the biggest mistake of my entire life.
For sure.
But
For sure.
being Muslim and then being African American, culturally, it wasn't acceptable to have all these boyfriends and date and all that, right? But
Right.
our
Right.
parents didn't know. My parents didn't know. Um, so now I just feel so confident, and it's just great. It's so good. It's so good. And saying no, you're not the one. It's okay. Like you can smile and keep it going.
That's right, because you have a lot of clarity now about who you are. So it's interesting. Letitia brought up a very good point about seeing red flags and then going into compassion mode. Oh my God. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what does that really cost you when that happens, when we go there?
Oh my gosh. Anxiety, pain, uncertainty, insecurity. Um, People will say you're so beautiful, you're so nice, but you don't really, you hear it, you think they're being polite. You don't really
Right.
believe it like in your soul. And then you almost look at being successful or being attractive um, as a curse, like something's not positive.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's really weird. Like all the games you start playing in your mind are very, and you have no one to really talk to because all your friends are just as crazy as you are.
Right.
Right? They're all spiraling out of control and out of love too. And then so yeah, they were all just making goofy. It's like being a teenager and asking your friends for advice. You
Right.
know?
It's like the blind leading the blind.
Right, absolutely.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I look back at the last parts of my life and I love my children and they're gorgeous and they're so wonderful. So I did something right in having them. And my exes are not, there's nothing wrong with them. It just wasn't right for me. And I think that's the part that we have to be okay with.
That's right, totally. And so often, women who are faith-based, Muslim or Christian or spiritual, so often they say to me, God will bring me the right person in divine timing. But we've had trauma, divorces, disappointments in dating. So we look outside and then we say, God, you throw up your hands, God will figure it out. But it doesn't really work that way, does it?
No, no, and I'm incredibly spiritual. I definitely believe in divine order. I'm an incredibly spiritual person. But one thing that resonated to me when I met you for the first time, Barry, is the fact that I'm an entrepreneur and that
Yes.
I'm a scientist. And so everything that I've done in my entire life has been done in order. There's been a plan, and I never, and I'm instinctively, I knew that's how my love life should be, but it seems so weird and so out of character, right? Because it's almost like you're making like finding love a business. But what I would love to people to tell people is that it really is. I mean, as a doctor, as a dentist, if I have a crazy cuckoo person that comes to my office that's saying they've been to 15 different dentists and they've got 5 different people's work in their mouth, I really don't want that person as a patient because clearly they're confused and they don't really know what they want to do and they're not acknowledging that they've got other issues.
That's right.
Well, we should move into our love life in the same exact way. You know, if you spend time with yourself and your self-love and you're a spiritual person and you've worked really hard to attain the things that you've attained, then why would you be with someone that doesn't want to go to work and doesn't work out or take care of themselves physically and they don't have to be gorgeous, but they've got to take care of their bodies and eat right. But we be the first ones to go buy a bucket of French fries and bucket of chicken and bring it home. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And that's not what we need to do. And so although I'm very spiritual, I do believe that but there's scripture that says, you know you have to do the work first. I mean, God will give you the work, but you've got to also show that you want to do the work also, and that's what you've allowed us to do, Barry, in this program.
That's
Is you
right.
made us do the force us to do the work, and it's not comfortable. In the
No.
same way that a final exam wasn't comfortable, or studying, gross anatomy wasn't comfortable, right?
That's right. It's not
Especially,
comfortable, but we're
right.
suffering anyway. If we had a dream of having a family and didn't have one, or we're sitting alone every weekend, or we have no one to plan the future with, no one to love and to really see us, we can't just put it out there for God. We have to take action and heal ourselves from the foundation. If not, it's really fear of success. It's
Mhm.
really fear of more rejection. But once you take it into your own hands, there is no more rejection because you're fully empowered and you're aligned with divine providence. You're aligned with godliness, right? Because when there's a mixed message, how can the divine or your unconscious is saying what you want. And so right. So we need to really take it into our own hands. So Letitia, what would you say when you look at your own transformation? Because you were already spiritual, but what are you most proud of now in terms of your big breakthroughs, your biggest breakthroughs in like the first phase?
Um, Definitely looking at just kind of how I grew up and and even though my parents did an amazing job with me, they did the best that they could, right?
Right,
Um, but there were some spaces where I feel like I was the oldest of three. I am the oldest of three, people pleaser, really emotional. But I was raised by, a father that was raised in the civil rights movement, a really strong grandmother. So crying and being emotional wasn't really a sign of weakness, right? And
right,
so not being able to acknowledge and appreciate and embody that being an emotional being is godly and
right.
really a good thing. I
Yes,
found myself burying things under a rug and not really dealing with things that hurt me. And
right,
so, and you brought all that to life for us in this program. And so I think that was the biggest part, just being unapologetically exactly who I am. Um, and then walking boldly with that. I think that was the biggest part of it, honestly. And then once that happened, then I realized the power that I had and realized that choosing isn't being egotistical.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're
Right.
choosing love here. Like in my mind, I mean, my office is pink because I am like a girl. Like I love love. I've got butterflies behind me, you know? I mean,
Totally.
it is like the best thing ever.
It is.
But choosing love in the wrong ways and choosing it from the improper lens, what I was doing my entire life, I feel,
That's
has been transformational for me, honestly. And so now I choose properly, you
yes.
know.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, like oh, my body is warm just even saying it. I'm just so happy.
I'm
I'm really
so
happy.
glad. I'm so
Yeah.
glad. That's the big difference. And it's different than therapy when you have an intellectual understanding or you don't even realize how your childhood impacted you. So we unpack it in a way that gives us access because it, right, an intellectual understanding doesn't change anything. You just go out to date and you meet the same wrong person and then you blame the dating site. So you blame, I need to move. My town is too small. My town is too big. I have
Mhm.
20 extra pounds. Right. It's not any of those things. So getting to wholeness is really where it's at. So Letitia, fun stuff. Tell us now that you've transformed the inner, what is your dating life like now? What's different about your dating now than how it used to be?
So I don't take it personally anymore when it doesn't work. I'm the one choosing now. Like
That's
I
right.
make the choices on who, and you know, you kind of taught us how to navigate, and the enrollment conversation. So I actually met someone through an enrollment conversation, which is so amazing. And so in the enrollment conversation, you share with us, you know, you talk to your friends, people that love you, and say, listen, I have really healed. I know where I am. I know what I want now. And if you know anyone that's in that same space, you know, please let me know. I would love to meet them and see if we're a match. And so that kind of happened to me. And he's a dentist and he's in North Carolina. So
Ooh.
so like the old Tisha would have been like, not possible, you can't figure this out. But what you teach us is that everything is possible. And you deal with issues as they show up. And so we're just figuring it out. Like but we complete each other's sentences. He's so kind. He
Oh.
has two kids and he's been divorced and just a nice, kind spirit.
And how do you feel when you're with him?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Because you can never tell the right person the wrong thing.
That's
That's
right.
what Barry tells us. And so it eliminates all the fear of conversation. Like whatever I'm thinking, of course, I'm not disrespectful, but I'll say it. I was like,
Yeah.
whatever, whatever it may be. And you're not scared the other person's going to shut you down or judge you or not accept you or love you any less. Because like you always tell us, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
That's right. Right. Because you're
Yeah.
doing the inviting. So when
Yes.
people say, oh, all men are narcissists or they all want to sleep with you, or it's just not true. It's
No,
just not true.
it's not true. It's not true.
It's
And,
not
and
true.
what I told him was, meeting you only shows my growth because
Totally.
because if I attracted you into my life, then I know that what I'm exuding is something of confidence and compassion and authenticity and all the wonderful things that we are at our essence.
At
And
our essence.
yeah, and this is all stuff that Barry's taught me, guys. So
So excited. And the other point, so now you're an empowered dater. You're never going to attract, you're never going to be a mystery dater again. Older, younger, like my father, like this, like that. Now it's laser focused. And that is why it's effective. So for those of you who are in business and want effectiveness, that's what you get instead of wasting time. And the other point I wanted to talk with you about is how has this new transformation impacted you in other areas like your business, like friendships? Because there were some other areas of growth, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, one, I will say I've always been someone that took care of myself, like my body, right? But it definitely made me care more.
Yeah.
Because I remember because early in the program, self-care is comes before you caring for someone else. And so you have to really
Right.
learn how to take care of it. So that was one thing. I feel better. I'm eating better, even better than I was before.
Yeah.
It showed up in my friendships. My friendships are definitely stronger. Redefined relationships with my parents. And really kind of being the Tisha that I want to be as an adult and not them looking at me as a child,
Yes.
which parents actually do anyway. I'm really a better doctor because I listen more to my patients, and I'm really more. If I could have been more compassionate to them, I am more compassionate to them, and I honestly believe I'm a better mom to my kids.
Oh,
So I'm coaching them more in terms of their relationships. I'm able to advise them when they're having issues with the girlfriends. 'Cause I have 3 boys and they're all dating, all of them. And so I'm able to advise them. And then when I see red flags of women or young girls that they're attracting, we kind of talk about that. So it's really every single aspect of the life. And that's why one thing about the program that I love the most, Barry, is that we couldn't talk to any males.
right.
Um, you know,
Yes.
that was so weird when I heard it out loud, but it made so much sense because it was really important um, to not have that male energy, to really figure out, who I was and not have the distractions because it fills part and voids in your life and you don't even realize it.
Right. There are
So,
many
yeah.
things that we do that we don't even realize we're doing that take up the emotional space. And it feels hard. It feels like, why do I have to do this? We do a lot of things like that to create the inner space for your soulmate, for really love to thrive. So I love that. It really is. And why I do this too is your life changes, and then your sons are going to see
Mhm.
you modeling, receiving love in a healthy way. Imagine what that'll do for them too.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with this generation, having
Yeah.
partners is just these kids are different. They don't look at the fairy tale love like we did, growing up,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then, one thing I'm always, obviously conscious about too is because I've been divorced before, what does that look like for them? How does that define what their relationships look like? And what does it look like from perspective of trust, right? And
Yeah.
so, I'm really conscious about it. So everything that you've taught me, I really try to teach them from a different perspective. And I pull my book out sometimes and I say, we're gonna do an exercise. Everyone sit down, have a group text. So I'm like, okay, tell me who you are at your essence,
Right, right, right,
They think
right.
I'm weird and quirky, but they do it and then like, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
good.
because we want to create a legacy. Our world really needs more love. When people are hurt, they hurt. We get into these patterns, then countries are fighting with each other and we don't have tolerance. So it's really that important, right? And
Yeah,
you have your whole life ahead of you, your whole life to
I
be
know.
adored and spoiled and right. Amazing.
And it's so good because, growing up, it was almost taboo to ask, right? It's taboo
Right.
to ask to be spoiled or ask to be loved or you know what I mean? Because then
I
you're like
do.
high maintenance.
Right.
But after your program, look, I'm not asking for any more than I'm going to give out, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
so why should I not expect that? So,
That's
I would
exactly
just say that anyone that's thinking about this program, and Bear did not ask me to say this, I'm just telling you now. But I love. I know she's a lot of quiet, but I love. And I'm telling you that if every other part of your life is perfect and your love isn't, then you're just doing it the wrong way. And you've got to do it the same way that you become successful, a plan and intention and a schedule and accountability
Right.
and references, like checking references before, and all the same ways that you run your business and you're a successful person. The only reason you're not successful in love is because you don't have a plan, and Barry's got the plan.
We got it.
You got
Awesome.
it.
So, Letitia, I'm so excited for you. Yeah. So, thank you so much for sharing with us. I know you're up to huge things for yourself, your family, your community, and really the greater community. So, thank
Fingers
you so much.
crossed.
Oh, yeah, totally. Totally. You'll make it happen. You
Oh,
have
thank you.
everything that you need. So, thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching or have any questions or comments, please share below. And yeah, so thanks again.
Awesome. No, thank you, Barry, so much for literally changing my life.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Seriously.
happy for
I
you.
appreciate you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye.